Okay, look, can I just suggest we'll just get stuck into it? It's recorded anyway, so I can pass it on to all the others. Um, can you just take us away with what it's all about and, like what do street reps do and all that jazz? And people, if you can, I don't know, if you want to ask a question, you can do it on the fly, I suppose. It might be easier, make it organic.
Uh, the way to win the election is to have 2,000 street reps in your campaign. And recruiting 2,000 street reps is not an easy task if you don't do it by phone. By phone, it takes a very skilled operator about it with computer backup and clerical backup. A very skilled operator can do 100 a day, but there's very few of those left in Australia, and I'm probably the only one. An ordinary person would do about 40 a day on the phone, and you really haven't got time to do that. So the other way to do it is to use the offer to help form. Have you seen the offer to help form?
I'll bring it up for you in a moment. Keep talking, mate, while you're at it.
I'm going to take a photo of an offer to help form, and I'll send it to you. Boom, boom, boom. This is an offer to help form, which has a QR code in it. It has to be redrafted into your own.
Oh, I'm low.
You've now got, with an offer to help form, if you have, I suppose you have no street reps at the moment. The major thing to know about a street rep is recruited to own the rules. A street rep is only recruited to deliver to their own letterboxes in their own street exclusively. And if you haven't got a street rep in the street and you've got someone to walk the street, you've got to print those offer to help forms. I just sent you a photo of one. Okay. It has a QR code on it, and it also has a photo on it, and it has the capacity for someone to walk a street delivering it to the letterboxes in the hope of recruiting a street rep from that street. But when a person is delivering to the letterboxes to recruit a street rep, they talk to everyone they encounter in the street, because the idea is to recruit a street rep in the street. That's why you're delivering the paperwork to the street, and that's what the purpose is. If one is committed to doing nothing else except recruiting street reps, the street rep recruiter will find everybody else in the street that will help. And the street rep, having done the street once, 65% asked to do another task. What your team does that you have now got is you've got to encourage them to watch the videos, and then having watched the videos, if they want more information that isn't written about already, how to do it. And I'm happy to provide that to any person that asks me. But I'm a bit off about providing anything to anybody who hasn't bothered to watch the videos. As the videos describe the technique for recruiting street reps and describe how a street rep develops into a member of the human race by wanting to convert. The reason that people become street reps is because they see an opportunity to increase their own vote. People aren't really interested in helping us using the person who they think may have an influence to increase their own number of votes that they want to have. Every person who's interested in politics or becomes interested in politics, which is the street rep, who becomes interested in politics because they're reading the material they're delivering to the letterboxes. A person interested in politics wants to increase their own vote power and compound their own vote power by using a candidate who they think has got the capacity to increase the number of votes that they want to vote to do so. The reason the street rep system is used when you're behind the numbers is because the street rep becomes knowledgeable and becomes neighbourly and starts to win people over to how they want to vote themselves. And they find people in the street who become like-minded. So a street rep recruited properly to do their own street, who starts delivering material once a week, will win one vote a week compounded. The first thing everybody has to do is watch the videos about the recruitment of street reps. The next thing you have to do is get your campaign material organised. And the third thing you have to do once you've done that is start to email. Everybody has email addresses in their email computer. Everybody should email everybody in their email computer. Everybody should text everybody in their phone. And it doesn't matter if they're business people or clients or associates or friends or the dog washer or the car detailer, whoever they are. And then a person should walk the shops that have got phone numbers on them. And every time you pass a vehicle that's local in your own area, you take down the mobile phone number and you text them. You text them the link to the Street Rep app. And you text everybody you can a link to the Street Rep app. And every person that meets anybody anywhere says, I'm with the Freedom Parties. We're preferencing Greens last, Labor second last, and Liberals third last. We want to get a street rep in every street to help deliver the campaign material for the Freedom Parties. We can take government on the basis that our first proviso to be a Freedom candidate is to have Greens last, Labor second last, and Liberals third last on our how to vote card. That's the short summary of it. And it's all written down and it's all in process and it's all on email. And if any person wants to do more about it, questions. That was a very brief 10-minute summary of what normally I can speak for 4.5 hours.
I think you're still a bit bamboozled what it's all about. I mean, literally, you have to do. What I understand is it's a matter of just getting around your close neighbors in your street. You don't have to go beyond unless the street is quite long. Then we subdivide it with other street reps. And then the whole idea is that when you bump into anybody, any opportunities you have of engaging anybody in that area, you and then you try to get them to fill out that form.
Well, what you say is, how many people in your street? How many people in your street, Steve?
In my street, well, I'm at the I got thousands because I'm along the Pacific Highway.
Oh, beautiful. You're good. Okay. So what you say to a person is, the average suburban house has got about 30 streets. Most suburban streets are from 5 to 12 houses. It depends on the suburb. It depends on the location. There's lots of streets that have got lots of apartment blocks in them. When there's apartment blocks, I like to recruit a person for each apartment block, depending on how many there are in the apartment block. The smaller the street, the better it is for the street rep, because the street rep is more likely to convert a small street than a big street because it looks too daunting. The street rep is recruited by asking how many street reps in your street when you're talking to them on the phone or anywhere else. And when they say 32, you say, will you deliver letterbox to the other persons in your street? Campaign material for the Freedom Movement. What's the Freedom Movement? The Freedom Movement is a candidate who says we're going to preference Greens last, Labor second last, and Liberals third last. If the person doesn't understand that, they're basically a political virgin, and then they can be explained what it is. What it means is it's exercising the preferential voting system, which is the very best voting system in the entire world. It's called a majority view voting system, which means people in a democracy are best served by our preferential voting system because it's a majority view voting system. If no one understands it, they should write this down, value your vote. It's a 10,000-word document I wrote that explains it. If a person wants to be involved in politics and hasn't read it, they're a person that wants to be a chef without ever reading a recipe book. So it's a 10,000-word read, and it's about an hour and 10 minutes to read it. It's the best hour and 10 minutes a person can spend if they want to have freedom, because they've got to understand the voting system, and that explains it.
Right.
Locating the people make no bones about it. There's a person in every street that wants to help you if you find them. And you find them by emailing them. And how many people email addresses do you have in your email?
In my contact list,
Yeah.
about 1,500. I'm actually going through them right now.
Don't go through them. Don't go through them. Email them. It doesn't matter what they are. It's all a numbers game. You email them. You email them the link, because it doesn't matter where they are in Sydney. Yep. The chances are, if they're on side with you or become on side with you, they will know people in Banks.
Okay.
Everybody in Sydney emails people everywhere, and some people know people in Banks and some people don't. So it doesn't matter. Don't go through them. Email the lot. The ones that don't want to know the email, you don't want to know, because they're not on your side to save Australia.
Right.
So you email them all. And you got to convince everybody you know to email everyone they know that app, because a proportion of people will act on it. A proportion of people will grab the bail to bail out the sinking boat, and a proportion of people won't. Some rats wait on the ship to see if it really sinks. A lot of rats will go to a more stable ship. We don't have another ship. We're the last country on earth that's got any basic capacity to be free. And if we don't save Australia, we got nowhere else to go. And so we can't go to New Zealand. New Zealand's already far worse than Australia on a totalitarian basis. They lock people up in their houses, and they have for months. And they don't give a porcupine's prick about a small business staying alive or dying. They don't care.
Yeah, I think you're preaching to the converted.
Yeah. Well, so if the converted are converted, they're going to mail to their mailing list tonight, everyone. Right. And then the first person that contacts them back, yep, from the mailing list and says, "What's this?" They explain it carefully what it is. This is a link for you to recruit yourself as a street rep for your street. And what I want you to do is I want you to take a copy of what I've emailed you, and I want you to email to your entire mailing list, which means your adjuncts. An adjunct is the household email people. They're the people that wash the car or vacuum the floor or insure the place, or are the mortgage insurance people, or the mortgage person, or the solar panel people. And if they haven't got an email, you text them, because the text I've sent you has to be designed for your own banks, but that text needs editing, and it's text to everybody that doesn't have an email. They're the adjuncts. Then you've got your customers and you've got your clients and your customers and your suppliers. And then you've got the people you're associated with in clubs. You've got the church people, you've got the badminton club, you've got the chess club, you've got the backgammon club, you've got the orchid club, you've got the women named Dawn club. Every club that you're a member in has also got an email list. If you aren't friends with the secretary of that club, you become friends with the secretary of that club, and you get the secretary of every club that you're involved in to email or text everyone in the club. If they don't get the news now, they're not going to have a country in 9 weeks' time.
James, yes.
So you work the lists, the email list. It's called list harvesting. Yes. And you work the local newspaper with the mobile phone numbers. Everyone that advertises for everything has a mobile phone number. You work the mobile phone number list, and when you prepare your text message to the mobile phone numbers, you can say in it, if you can't open this on your mobile phone, email it to yourself. James, can I just interrupt you? Interrupt me, go. Never say sorry. Really, to advance order freedom candidates all over Australia. I mean, like, my contact lists are all over the world, and not many of them are my neighbors in Banks, right? So most of them will not be able to help me in my campaign, but it will help the freedom candidates everywhere else. I can understand when you help freedom candidates everywhere else. they're helping you everywhere else if they're doing the same thing. If everybody emailed everybody that they knew tonight, all the Freedom people who knew everybody emailed tonight, all their friends, and texted all their friends, we'd have 300,000 street reps in 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah.
You might be the person that starts it. I am a brilliant campaigner when I do the street rep system myself. I've done it many, many times by myself, ringing people in a street till I find the street rep. I'm trying to do it en masse now. The fact that I know how to do it doesn't mean to say I know how to get anybody to believe me. You'd be the first person that believes me, Steve, and mail to your own lists. Then get everyone to mail to their lists. And you'll see when they are, because you'll start getting emails. You'll get an email.
These emails of my contact list, I think I need to have some kind of precursor, some kind of explanation to begin with, right? Otherwise they have...
Well, that's what you got to... Exactly. You send me the draft. You get the draft off Michael. You tell Michael you want a draft to send to your email lists. We've got the drafts already. He's already got the draft for you done.
Yep.
But you got to tell him I'm going to email my email list. What do I email?
Well, what I'm trying to do is going through my contact list.
What you're trying to do, Steve, is to find a way to avoid doing it. You've got to email your lists if you want to win at all, if you want to have any impact.
Okay. It's a hit and miss.
There's no just. There's no just.
All right.
Just is a short for justify. Just is a forbidden word in my language.
It just... All right, I can't say just.
There you go again, twice. Stop saying just. Get real. Decide to email to your lists. Yep.
James, just a quick question. Which election campaigns has this street rep campaign worked historically? Where have you seen really brilliant or, good success in this approach?
A man called Andrew Ho I put into Parliament in 2000 in Strathfield Council, Andrew Ho.
Oh, okay.
He was elected in 1996 in the Strathfield Council, number 4 on the Liberal Party ticket. Because I had a street rep system there already and I was helping the Liberal Party, he got elected number 4 on the ticket. Okay?
Yeah.
Next council election, the Liberal Party endorsed him number 4 on the ticket again. He was up himself. He said, no, I don't want to be number 4. I've been a councillor like everyone else. I want to be a higher position than number 4 because I'm the youngest councillor in Australia and I want to do things. The Liberal Party said no. So he resigned from the Liberal Party and stood as an independent. And he asked me to run his campaign for him. I said, yeah, okay. So I ran his campaign for him with the street rep system. And he won. He got in the council as an independent. 4 years later, he stood again. When he stood the first time that I ran for him and he got in as a councillor, I organised for him to become the deputy mayor in the 2nd year and the mayor in the 3rd year. And he reneged, Andrew Ho, H-O. He reneged and said, as just before, the day before the election was to take place, when he was going to be nobody, 2nd year deputy, 3rd year mayor, he said, no, I want to be deputy the 1st year. And I said, Andrew, if you renege on this deal, I'll never speak to you again. And I'll never help you again because I've set the deal. Be satisfied that you're going to have another year in the council and then you're going to be deputy mayor and then the next year you're going to be mayor. The deal's set. He said, no. I said, get stuffed. I'm never talking to you again. I never did. When he stood again the next year in 2004, he failed dismally without the street rep system because the street rep system puts people into Parliament. Another one I did one for Joe Bjelke-Petersen. I put a National Party person into Toowong that had never held a National Party person again before. And it was the only time Joe Bjelke-Petersen had an absolute majority in the Queensland Parliament in Toowong. His name was...
That's a long time ago, I know.
When Joe
it was 1986, I think.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, back then.
Doesn't matter. You never forget how to ride a horse. Never forget how to ride a bicycle. I did it for Jackie Kelly in Penrith, and I did it for other people. If you bother to read Value Your Vote by James Darby, written in August 2022, which I described the voting system. I give examples of that system in there. It's very hard for me to give you an example of a person like yourself that's won a seat without a system. You can't win it without a system. And that's why independents hardly ever succeed, because they don't have a system of getting a friend in every street to be their advocate, of training people to come up from being nowhere into how to becoming a booth worker, how to becoming a booth captain, how to becoming an advocate, recruiting one vote every week for their candidate, compounded. So every person that you recruit as a street rep recruits someone else as a campaign worker. And of course, the Liberal Party barred me from doing it in 1978. And then when they found out I was doing it for Jackie Kelly, they got me sacked from Jackie Kelly as a staffer, because they don't want a street rep system, because they don't want thousands of new people joining the political party interfering with their pre-selection process. Because the Liberal Party's only been interested in its pre-selection process.
Yeah.
So I've done it also for Alan Jones, and I've done it for other people as well. But me having done it, somebody asked me the other day, how long have you been a sales trainer? I go, what's that got to do with anything? And I said, because no matter how many years I tell you, it's not going to mean anything to you, because if you don't peg me as a sales trainer, you've got no value to yourself as a human being. So I said, I'll prove it to you. I've been a sales trainer for 45 years, I said. And they said, well, what success have you had? I said, there, you just proved the point. How could you be a sales trainer for 45 years without success? It's like if I said to you I was a horse breaker. Well, what success have you had? I've broken in horses. I can ride a horse without falling off. I can teach a person to ride a horse without falling. What's it got to do with anything? Got to do with nothing. All it's got to do with is doubt of self, doubt of one's own capacity to recruit a person into a street rep. That's all it proves. A person can never, ever be asked to say their own credibility as a reason or justification for what they're preaching. It's like if you decide to become a preacher, are you going to write your own Bible, or are you going to use the Bible that's already there? The Bible on how to win an election is already there. People that want to write their own can go ahead and do it. I'm talking to you now about, very briefly, because I'm going in 4 minutes, very briefly about what you've got to do if you want to make an impact. And in making that impact, I'm telling you already 3 videos I've done about it, which are a huge lesson. And I've written a 10,000-word document called Value Your Vote, which is a huge lesson. I've written, we've got a 130-page office manual about how to conduct a candidacy already written. We've got thousands of words already written on how to do it. And I've just sent you 2 text messages which give links to an enormous amount more material. There's nothing wrong with becoming a political advocate. I've been a political advocate all my life, and I haven't won. The socialists are about to win. They're about to destroy Australia as we know it. One of the things they'll do is they'll remove the preferential voting system, and they'll make it an optional voting system, and they will delay elections. And we may never have another election that we can vote in that will have an impact on the system. So that's my story. I bid you farewell.
We've only got 2 minutes left.
Thanks.
Is this? Do you guys mind coming back around 8-ish? I'll set up another Zoom. I just so much I need to talk to you as well on a local front. then I can get the other guys.
I'll leave you, my friends. You have a good one. Bless you.
Yeah, thanks.
We've got 2 minutes left.
Thanks, James.
Left, according to Zoom. So we'll make the most of it. James, he's lost. He gets carried away all the time. I want him to focus on how we do it for our campaign. But he's a freedom warrior. That's what I'm trying to say. And he wants all of Australia to benefit. But, some way, if we do street rep and we teach Marika people to do street rep too, it's all the freedom candidates in Banks. That's who we want to be strong. And eventually, through our preference deal with all of them, we're going to beat the likes of Greens, Labor, and Liberal. So that's what. And it's what he's talking about is the way how he did it. But I modified a lot. His brother Michael taught me a little bit different, and I find there's a much more pragmatic way of doing it, and you don't have to try hard. You just have to be, outside as long as you can within your neighborhood. When you take your garbage out and you see someone else taking the garbage out, when you're walking the dog, things like that, you just engage them and talk to them about what you believe. And if they nod their heads, even if they don't, put them onto this offer to help form. All right. And then what they have to do is fill out a certain form, and you can do it online. And if you do it online, you get this other form. Let me show you another form before we cut out. But I'm going to give you another. Where are you? Jeez, gotta find it. I think all right. I'm just going to send you another Zoom session at 8 o'clock when I'm next free. Please join me with that, because it's imperative that I coach you and teach you how to go about doing these things. Now, where is it? Oh, there it is.